Are live coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
What up? What up?
And that is it. This is the crew tonight for the first time ever. Out of I don't know how many Stir the Pods / BMFEPs that we have done. This is the first ever duo of just me and Andy tonight. So
honestly, I don't know how many more I got left in me, Trev.
God, this I'm a little worried about this podcast because when me and Andy are together, shit goes off the rails real fast. So I apologize if this podcast is just incoherent and is just so stupid. You might just want to skip past through everything, but we're here, episode 12. We'll get into where Alex is in a little bit. I don't want to bash him too bad because he is possibly going under surgery right now. So we'll get into that. His appendix did burst possibly, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But tonight's episode, Mikey the Doctor, Ryan McCord in the chat. It seems like some people are upset that we can't get the full cast. I mean, what else is
That's
new?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But tonight's episode, initial thoughts, Andy. I like tonight's episode. I think it was another good episode. I think it was around probably the 35 to 55 minute mark that kind of was slow and drawn out. But I kind of like tonight's episode. Like, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hand up. Me too. If we're picking nits, one thing that I didn't like, I thought it was a good daily, good elimination, drama throughout, but we've talked about it on here multiple times. Whenever production has the ability to determine who the actual winner of the daily is, it's a huge asterisk in my book. And guess what? 2 seconds. Surprise, surprise. We've never heard that before, even though Anissa was flopping in the pond like a little.
A little what?
I can't. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that was one thing. I liked the whole episode top to bottom, but that was huge. It was pivotal. And I almost kind of got the impression, like, afterwards, like, team underdogs, TJ, team underdogs. I was almost thinking, like, maybe Devin, because Devin was the one who concocted this whole team underdogs. Maybe he did that knowing that it plays into production's hand, and it gives them, like, hey, even if there's a 10% chance of production having a say in this, they're going to give it to us because we're building up this narrative.
And we'll dive into, I do eventually want to talk about the 2 seconds. I'm surprised TJ didn't say this is the closest challenge we've ever had, all that jazz in a little bit. But overall, I think we both agree tonight's episode, it was entertaining. We had Jordan's comment at the during the elimination before the vote in. Mariah's vote. There's a lot to unravel in tonight's episode. And we have our first team officially going home, I guess, through all this. So let's just dive right into the start with the streak. And obviously Alex isn't here tonight. So the streak, I almost want to say it's 50-50. It might be a 0.5. Like, I don't think we can chalk it up as 1 because we never saw them walk through the house first. It was Amber. We never saw Amber was the one. I believe Anissa was hugging her in the opening scene. So, like, it was like eating her. Hugging her. And, like, I don't know. I just felt like we can't chalk it up completely because we didn't see her go through the door. I don't know.
Agreed. 0.5 for the streak.
0.5. So I forget what number we're officially at. I know our challenge historian, even though he's in the hospital right now, he'll be on it hopefully next week if he's not dead by then. Moving on, we had a couple things. We had Jordan now he's fully solo, doesn't have his cuddle partner, Nerese. He kind of talks about that for a hot sec. You talked about Chauncey and Amber, how they want to start a family. What do they want to do with $1 million? I feel like that's always a classic thing. I feel like that's always an episode 1 thing that we get.
Mm-hmm.
they get this year. But them talking about starting a family, doing this, doing that. Um, the one thing I wish from earlier seasons and stuff is that I always love when you have the random ass people do it when they're like, I'm going to open up a gym. I'm going to open up
Dang,
a
there it is.
hair salon. I'm going to do this or whatever. Like I bulge at that. That's awesome.
And the best part about that is like, man, if I win $50,000, I'm gonna open a gym. It's like, well, I don't think you know how much money really goes in that sense. Like $1 million, sure, absolutely. It's like 50 grand. I'm gonna open my own gym. No, you're
Has
not.
has anybody ever in the history of the challenge opened up a gym from winnings? I would say there's a few people that you can argue. Did Kenny?
I think he was like a partner in one in New York City.
And then
I believe so.
did Emily Schramm?
Ooh,
I think she did too, like a CrossFit
maybe.
gym. But I don't think anybody else. I think that's it. I just always
No.
love that where they're just like freaking out, like you brought up $50,000 is like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a house. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that. They have no recollection of what $50,000 actually is. Like
No.
a studio in New York, $50,000. I mean, come on, come on.
No. Get out of here. You're getting a box on the side of the road.
I know, not even space on the side of the road's even pushing it, Andy. I mean, you might be Hoboken, maybe even further at that point. The next scene we kind of got after that was Bananas talking about to Nani, kind of wishing he could do more for her. I don't know if this was just a little foreshadowing, but I feel like it was just kind of just filler time. Probably, them just having breakfast one day and the camera crew was just kind of like, oh, let me just get this
After
shot.
Nani's morning sig.
Sigs inside.
Well, what I also don't understand about that is they were talking as if, oh, Banana said like, I commend you for everything you've had to deal with this season. Like, honestly, like the fact that you're still here mentally and physically, like, honestly, like it's makes me so proud. I'm so impressed. What has Nani had to deal with?
Her mom died.
Oh my God. Okay, I take it all back. Thank you. I was just asking a question. Thank you for giving me an answer.
God, yeah.
I do not want to go more on that subject. Thank you.
All right. So moving on to the next. Jesus Christ. Moving on to the next.
I forgot. Hand up.
Moving on to the next kind of part.
Good for Nani.
God, moving on to the next part of the episode. We kind of had our FaceTimes. And I think this is the first time we've had our FaceTimes this year. We might have had it one other time, and I forget who it was with. But it's something I kind of bulge at. I love seeing the FaceTimes.
Me too.
Especially when they call other challengers from the past. And obviously tonight we start out with Nelson calling Corey, which is just smirk city. The only thing I'm disappointed in Corey with anything he said was I'm surprised he didn't bring up he has kids. That was the only shocker that I had tonight from that FaceTime.
Yeah. That's a good point. I don't know if we've ever gotten – because that's a pseudo confessional more or less. And I don't know if there's ever been a confessional where Corey hasn't mentioned that. I also got the impression of like Nelson asking Corey for advice and everything was just the blind leading the blind. Like, who's going to like help the other out?
I agree. I mean, those two guys, when you combine those guys together for like information,
you get a combined IQ of 34.
I mean, that's pushing it, man. I mean, people forget Corey didn't know what 9 times 3 was. I mean,
legitimately.
I mean, that's no diss or anything. I'm it's a straight up fact.
You can like count on your fingers.
God. Didn't Corey, he was the one during, I think it was Dirty 30 or was it Invasion? I think it was Invasion final where he was in the water and he was carrying the weight and he said it was like 500 pounds in the water. God. Looks like
He's
OK Sports
nuts.
in the chat tonight. Looks like they want Corey back. What about that, Andy? Do you want Corey back? I think Corey is a good person to have on the show. I will say that.
I agree for the most part. I only want Corey on if Nelly's on. I know
Okay.
that for a fact.
Mhm.
And I will also say, even when Nelly's been on, like the last maybe 2 seasons that Corey's been on, he just sucks.
Mhm.
Like, he's not as entertaining. He's super annoying. Like, I get it. You're now a father of 5. Like, yeah, you're probably just stressful. Your life sucks. But like, come on the show and be entertaining. Be Mr. Popcorn Muscles. Like, he's no longer Mr. Popcorn Muscles. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. What about in Dabu writes it in the chat right now? The Young Bucks. What if we got Hunter back as
Team
well?
Young Buck.
Team, yes.
Is it the or team?
I think it's team.
It might
I'm
be
pretty sure
the.
it's team. No, I think it's team.
Corey, Hunter, and Nelly.
I like that.
I do too.
Uh, I
Because if
mean,
you throw all of them on one season, you inherently give them power in numbers of like a hardcore alliance, but none of them are that good.
uh,
Especially, I bet Hunter's probably pushing like 275 these days. I don't know what he looks like. I could be completely wrong. He just strikes me as one of those guys, from like a country high school, stays in shape for a little bit and then hits that tipping point where they just balloon. They're, chewing like 2 cans of Skull Wintergreen a day and just drinking Bush Lights all night. Like that's what Hunters, if you're watching, let me know if that's true because I'm pretty sure it is.
God, I mean, he is the true definition of a marauder. Like literally, like it's insane. Like how like perfect he is.
There it
Um,
is.
but any other people I'm like that. We'll just keep moving. Let's just keep moving on before we just completely get off the rails. But after that FaceTime, we had Jordan's FaceTime with I think it was one of his military.
Sasha.
Sasha, yes, Sasha Vulicic, former Nets basketball player, um, about Ukraine and how he went over. And I think say what you want about Jordan. I think a lot of you influencers or whatever, you could type behind, say, hey, I'm donating, I'm doing all this stuff. And, who knows if you really mean it or anything like that. And I'm not here to judge that. Jordan actually going to the country and like, I mean, you see him with the bulletproof vest. I mean, like, that shit's wild. Like, that's scary.
It is. And like I feel like that's just kind of how he is. Like
Yeah.
he thinks that he is like the greatest guy in the world. But when he backs it up, whether it be on the challenge or doing stuff like that, like even though like he's obviously posting a lot of it on social media, taking videos, taking pictures, like showing that he's there. Like
Yeah.
everything that he does that's like extra and like kind of douchey, and you're just like, dude, what are you doing? Well, he's backing it all up. You know what I mean? So, and Restream's doing it too. Good for Restream. But I mean, I, Jordan's awesome.
God, he's nuts. He almost seems like I don't even know the best way to describe Jordan. He's almost like he would literally dive on a grenade for somebody. Like that's how insane he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is that type of person that he doesn't give a fuck, and that's why I like him. And whatever he is passionate about, he sticks behind. And he's a straight shooter. He'll
Yeah.
shoot you straight. And especially in this game, you know, that's the best way to like if you're going against somebody or you want to know something, shoot them straight. And Jordan
Mm-hmm.
follows through with that. And we'll get into later what the whole decision, and I still don't necessarily know why Tori even said anything, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then kind of the last thing before the daily challenge, we had a little foreshadowing of Mariah not trusting Fezzi. Was basically flat out said, I trust bananas more than Fezzi. And there's no surprise there or anything, but it's kind of like, damn, that's your ride or die. And like the only person in this game that you have, you're just like, man, fuck him. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame her though. Like, Fezzi's clearly like, hey, I brought you on this show. That's what he's just trying to hold over her head. I
Yeah.
brought you on the show. You can't do anything to harm me. Like, that's all it is. And like, I think Mariah's starting to see that. And she's like, I don't trust you because you're asking for me to protect you at all times, whereas like you don't care what happens to me. I don't think he cares what happens to Mariah at all.
So my question is this, and we've talked about this on other episodes and even other seasons before. Rivals 3, Rivals 2, X's 2, X's 1. How are these relationships? How are these relationships actually are? Is Mariah even that close to Fezzi?
No, I'm trying to figure out what I've always wondered, and I don't know if they talked about it, but I don't know what it is. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I just don't get their relationship because it's I feel like it's the most awkward out of any relationship on this. Like it's just
Agreed.
like why? It almost feels like Fezzi was one kind of like MTV wanted him on the season and he's just like, fuck, I gotta pick somebody now and I don't know who I'm going to pick. Um and you know
Yes,
he's just kind of scraping the barrier kind of thing.
agreed. I think he was probably just it seems like a friend of a friend or something like that. They just don't seem close. He brought her on. He's like, "Hey, if I bring you on, you have to do everything I say." And she was like, "Okay, I get to get on the challenge." Good for her. He's an
Classic.
idiot.
Classic. So let's dive right into the challenge itself. A good old helicopter challenge. It felt very Mission Impossible esque, hanging from the
Dun,
helicopter, fall out.
dun, 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 dun,
Go check that
dun.
out on Paramount Plus if you have not. All the Mission Impossibles are there. I don't want to plug anything, but seriously, Mission Impossible, great series, especially Fallout. New one comes out in July. Go see it. But back to what I was
And if
saying.
you're signing up for Paramount, promo code STP.
That is S as in Sarah, T as in the, and P as in podcast. So the challenge itself, they're basically in their teams, underdogs versus the vets, or what do we even want to call this other team? We have the underdogs and the
Team Bananas.
team bananas. Okay. Underdogs,
Because I
team
really
bananas.
just don't want to call it Team Fuzzy or
Okay.
Fuzzy. So I think Team Bananas.
Okay. Team bananas versus what's it called? Underdogs. The challenge
Underdogs.
is basically you have 6 people hanging from what is it, like a rope or whatever, and you're basically there's 3 targets and you're trying to get the most points possible. And you and your partner basically just have to it's you and one other person basically have to drop in between the little square and then you swim to the dock. The only difference that you have is for the team bananas is you have 2 extra people. So you basically have to have 2 people just start on a dock, and as soon as the last person jumps in, those 2 people swim to it. So
Yeah.
overall,
Thanks, Casey.
I was explaining. I mean, I thought that was a pretty good explanation. Some of my best work yet. So basically, the team bananas goes first. They hit all the targets, and basically they all swim there. Pretty reasonable time, nothing too crazy. Another thing. I wish they would show us the times for this. I hate when they do this.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying.
when they don't, if it was like 5 minutes, if it was 25 minutes, like was it 30 seconds? Like we don't know, and I hate that so much. Give me a lower third or whatever with the times. So that happens. And then what happened after that? They
Well, so we show them. Anissa tries, kicking her away. And then they get their time. It was way too easy to hit the high targets. There were multiple jumps where it looked like people landed outside of them, but it seemed like as long as your foot hit it, it didn't have to go inside of it. But as long as you like made contact with it, it counted, which in my opinion was so dumb and it made it very confusing to watch. Um, that was my biggest complaint. And then again, once you saw how easy it was for the first heat, it was like, all right, the second heat obviously going to get it, and then it's going to go down to a swimming competition where production can determine what the final time was.
Yeah. And, I felt like this was the time where production stepped in and they had to pull the trigger. They had to make the underdogs win. There was no chance
Mm,
that Team Bananas was going to win this. Like 2 seconds. I mean, come on. Like there is
I know.
there's no show me the times. Show me the times. There is no chance that happened. So, I'm upset about
Agreed.
that. How about Nelly T getting on the rope backwards and him like just kind of like swinging? Like, honestly, I felt like this was a hard thing to do. Like, just like a dead or like again, I don't know how long it took or whatever, but I felt like it was hard to do. I don't think I could
I
hang there.
was
Go ahead.
I was so mad Anissa was on the dock.
God. But has like anybody ever
I
broken
was
his arm
looking forward to
before? Like,
watch it.
so then we see the rookie or the underdogs go. They go reasonably flat. Like we said, they win. 0.2 seconds. Blah blah blah. Moving on. Is there anything else really to say?
No, that's it.
So underdogs win. We go to interrogation, and we got to eliminate. We got to throw in one guy. God, Jesus, some of your comments are just out of control tonight. Ryan McCord is just
On
teeing up.
fire.
Interrogation. You got to throw in one guy. You're either going to throw in Bananas, Fezzi, Nelson, or Chauncey. Realistically, I felt like they did the right move. Looking ahead, but I probably would have thrown in Nelson though.
Mm-mm-mm.
You no,
No, no, no.
explain.
Because then if you're the guys and you're not getting voted in, so in that scenario, you've got Fezzi, Bananas, and Chauncey. Bananas and Fezzi are going to each other and saying, "We want the best team. We're saving each other. We're throwing in Chauncey." So then it becomes Chauncey versus Fezzi. So either whoever wins, it's addition by subtraction because
Okay,
their team gets stronger. You cut out the weak link.
that's fair.
Even
Okay,
though we saw how this one panned out, you had to have Fezzi or Bananas going in to give it a chance of one of the top two dogs getting kicked off.
that's fair. That's fair. I just think I don't know. I just felt like Nelson was the safer move. The Mariah thing, and we'll get into that, makes no sense though. Like, what would have happened if they was 3-3? Do you think Jordan would have gone back on his
I
word?
don't know. No
So
chance.
interrogation, like we said, nothing too crazy came from it. Mostly just pleading the
Mm-hmm.
case. Nobody wanted to say, "Hey, if we save you, who would we throw in?" Nobody. Very smart for
None of
all.
that.
Nobody
Yep.
said anything. Uh,
Nothing.
and then we kind of go to one other scene with Tori going up to Jordan, and I don't understand why Tori went up to Jordan. To me, it was stupid. Just let him do what he wants. Why are you getting involved?
So dumb.
Exactly. Like, and I don't understand why she wants to say. And I get like Fezzi's your best player, but like if you, I guess in that scenario, I don't think he's the best player. I'm just saying Tori thinks he is the best player.
Right, 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 right.
Um, why say anything to him in that scenario?
She's scared. She felt scared. I mean, she literally threatened him. It was such a dumb move. It made no sense. And I've thought that Jordan was going to say Fezzi the whole time. That's still kind of my thought process. After him and Devin talked, I think he was like, "I'm voting in Fezzi." But Tori going up and talking to him about that and threatening him gave him a get out of jail free card of saying, "Look, somebody came up here and threatened my personal relationship based on this decision. I'm not going to let that fly, yada, yada." Dumb move on her part, kind of gave him like a scapegoat. Now, granted, how many people actually believe that's the logic is up for debate, but nonetheless, he's got a scapegoat now.
Yeah, and I like I said, I just think sometimes you just shut your mouth and you don't say anything. And tonight was a perfect example of why you don't say anything, and that's
Yep.
why I was upset. So moving on to the elimination now. The elimination, they're all showing up. Votes happen. 3 votes for Fezzi, 2 votes for Nelson. It all comes down to Mariah. Who's Mariah going to throw in? She's like, I can't say Fezzi's name.
I
I can't
bulge.
say Nelson's name because Fezzi told me not to. So I'm going to throw in Chauncey, which, by doing that, you are essentially throwing in both. You're literally throwing in Fezzi. So,
100%.
I mean, your burn vote is the equivalent of saying Fezzi's name, essentially.
100%.
I would have been very curious what would have happened if Fezzi and Nelson tied. What do you think Teach would have?
Hmm.
And they just kept tying. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think he would have done a revote um until someone changes their mind.
who do you think changes their mind in that scenario? Horacio?
Horacio or Nani? Or did Nani?
Nani said
Did they both?
Nani voted Nelson.
I could see Nani changing.
But the
I
reason
could see either one of them changing.
I don't know if Nani would because she got voted in by Nelson. She has a perfect reason to throw him in.
She does, but she's also smart. She has no ties to Fuzzle,
Vodka?
Muzzle. What's his name?
Muzzle? God. I don't know. I'm confused by that move. So Mariah does that stupid ass move. She is essentially saying, "Fuck Fezzi, fuck my only ride or die in this game," and Fezzi goes in. So then, what happens is, um, you good?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's get going.
whoa! All right, take it easy, big fella. And basically, God damn. So what happens is what, Andy? You tell me if you want to stir the pot up.
Okay, yeah. So what happens is Nelly and Fuzzy go into the elimination. Obviously, Nelly's probably a plus 450 underdog.
Well, you're skipping
Fuzzy wins.
you're skipping the swords. So what happens with the swords?
All right. So what happens with the swords? Fuzzy gets the vote. They go down the line. Chauncey pulls the save card, saves Bananas. Great call on his part. Save the strongest of the two options. Don't really stir up anything else. Nelly voted you and Amber B in earlier. No brainer. So then you got the rematch of Nelly v Fuzzy. No longer a hall brawl, but still an elimination that requires a lot of physical strength and endurance. They go into it. It looks like it's kind of, tell me if this is new. It looks like it's back and forth to start. Halfway through, you realize, okay, one person's easily going to win.
Yeah.
Fuzzy pulls it away, literally and figuratively, wins. He stays alive. Olivia comes down from the rafters. Oh my gosh, Nelly, I'm going to miss you so much. I can't wait to talk to you in about 2 weeks and then never again for the rest of our lives. And then Nelly gets brought back by TJ into the pit, the dome, whatever they're calling it. He says, "Oh, you ride with your ride or die." Nelly doesn't know what's happening. He brings in Nerys. Nelly still doesn't know what's happening. TJ says, "She was alive as long as you were alive, so now you're both gone." Nelly still doesn't know what's going on. And then TJ says, "Now you guys are eliminated from the game. Bye, Nelly. Bye, Nerys." The end.
The end. That was quick. So the challenge itself, the elimination itself, though, what do we think of the spears going through the drywall? It's very not so fast esque mixed in with ripping, the spears through the drywall. It was all right. It wasn't too
Yeah,
crazy.
no, it was a physical elimination with endurance.
God, you suck. You suck. All right. Well, should I say anything else, Andy, before you want to just run to Michelle and hang out and do other things tonight?
Watch it. I mean, I thought it was a good episode.
That's it.
I mean,
You suck. You are letting the chat down tonight. My LVP. You didn't even talk about Jordan talking about being a traitor tonight and all this stuff. Honestly, Mikey, I might go solo for the rest of the night. This is bananas right now. What he's doing to me.
time out. Just so the chat's aware, I told Trev I have to go at X time. He was going far past it, was already past it, continued to drag things along like he does. He was Tory trying to call me out Jordan. Well, guess what? Not tonight.
So do we want to talk about Tori and Jordan with the whole "I'm not a terrorist" line?
All right, so my MVP for
Whoa,
tonight.
whoa, whoa! Everybody knows the rules with MVP, LVP. You can't just come in here and change stuff up. I mean, we have traditions here. And before I can give my MVP and LVP for the picks, I think we got to hear from the hospital boy himself for his
Oh
MVP,
God,
LVPs.
please.
What's up, Trev? What's up, STP, Ryan McCord? You can see why I'm not in there tonight. My MVP is going to be Jordan. He's not letting Torrey play his game. He's a winner, and he plays his game. My LVP is going to be my appendix. So those are my MVP and LVPs tonight. I'm always in. I'll see you guys next week. I know I will. All right. Love you guys.
God.
That's amazing.
Straight from the hospital bed himself. So I still haven't got an MVP, LVP. So I think we got to wait, Andy. I think that's that's what we got to do. Tick tock, tick tock. He's like.
What are your final thoughts, Trev?
Final thoughts. I feel like we're in a good spot. I really like where we're
Agreed.
headed. Episode 12. If we have about 6, 7 more episodes, I feel fine where we're at. I like the pace. I like everything. I just think I'm very curious where this game's going to go next. Where if we have another girl, let's say Mariah goes home next episode or Nani goes home, what do we do with that? That's where, then becomes 5 on what?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I'm worried about that.
Well, and that's a big thing. Like, as fans and viewers of the challenge, we needed Team Underdogs to win. We
Yes.
really did. So, like, we were talking about production having their, little puppet master. Now we don't like that, but at the same time, like, we needed it. And at some point in time, they're going to have to change things up, or we're going to need them every time. And I'm still hanging on to the fact that I get that we're doing this redemption house, and the first like factor, I guess, like implication, inflection point, if you will, of that is the second ride or die also getting eliminated. So it's just hey, so and so is waiting. You also got eliminated, so your guys are gone too. And that's probably what we're going to see for a while. But a lot of that hinges on what happens when they bring them back, how they bring them back, when they do, how it's done. They could fumble that so easily. And that's the only thing that's giving me like some worry for what's ahead of us.
Fair. So MVP, kick us off.
I'm going to go my MVP for tonight is going to be I don't love it, but I'm going to go Mariah.
Ooh, interessante. Explain.
She took a shot. She missed, but she took a shot. Throughout this whole season, including tonight, I would have bet money that she's never going to take a shot at him. Even though, even the second they split up teams, Fezzi did not care about her. You could tell clear as day. And it seemed like she was just going to, roll over, be a doormat for whatever he wanted to do. She took a shot tonight. And granted, she tried backing it up as, okay, well, I can't say Fezzi. Fezzi told me not to say Nelson. I'm not going to say Bananas. So I guess I have to pick Chauncey. Okay, relax. And then she was trying to cheer on Fezzi in the elimination. You're not fooling anyone, but good for you for taking a shot. So I'll give her the MVP for that because it's tough for a rookie to come in and do that, especially first time on the challenge. But it missed, but she's still there. She didn't take a shot and got her kicked out yet, but good for her.
Yeah, great pick. I'm going to go with kind of a similar style of your pick, and I'm going Nelly T. I think Nelly had such a great season, and I know these MVPs are based off of episodes. I still think tonight he killed his episode. I think the swing portion was a very question mark. I mean, he's swinging backwards. He's entertaining. I almost think he has solidified himself now. I felt like Nelson growing up, the first 5 seasons with him, like he was very on the border of should we bring him back, should we not? I think he is a staple to bring back for the guys every season from now on. I think he's a
That's exactly what TJ said.
Yeah. So
he literally said you're a staple in the show.
Yeah, I think he is the GOAT when it comes to that stuff. Like, I mean, he is so corny and so quirky and everything like that. I mean, like you said, he was going home and he had no idea he was going home twice, kind of thing.
He's kind of like,
huh? US dollars? So very smirky. I mean, just a great season, and I just want to give him one clap. All right, and that was yesterday. On a new day, on a new so LVP tonight.
But let me ask you this. Has the game really begun? Yes, it has.
All right, LVP tonight. I think there's only one loser tonight in this episode. And this person wasn't even in tonight's episode. And that's Kenny. Kenny is our LVP, my LVP tonight, because he's back in the redemption house all alone. He's just sitting there. Could you imagine? He thinks he's going to get a new friend to come in, and no, they're just taking Maurice out, and he has nobody. So he is still in his hotel room watching HBO Max. He's probably still on episode 7 of season 2 of White Lotus, and it's just still going on. It is just, he's probably like, I need friends, I need somebody, and I can't wait till next week when I'm praying Casey doesn't go home next week. So we bring in, give me a girl, just any girl.
Amber B.
Amber B comes in the house or in the redemption house, and she's like, hey, production, how are you doing?
Hey, do you have snacks?
You have snacks?
Are you in charge of snacks?
I'm Kenny. Who? Oh, I'm Casey's brother. Oh, Casey.
There it is. There it is.
That. So my LVP tonight is definitely going to be Kenny. RIP to his only friend. I guess he's back to HBO Max for another week or day or so. Andy,
I think he might prefer that. My LVP pick is going to be Stir the Pod. I hate to do it, but I got to give it to the whole crew. Me, you, and Javi. There's been unforeseen instances, obviously, tonight, emergency room visits, miscoordination previously. I think we've had one full trio in like the past 4 or 5 EPs. That's unacceptable.
Hot seat us?
That's what I'm saying. And it's equal part on me as anyone else. So like, I'm here.
I mean, we've all missed one episode this season, as crazy as that is. I mean, as I think Alex and I combined, we have done 109 episodes or something like that. Combined, we've missed 4 episodes in total. And it's been 2 this season.
Yeah. So I got to do it. I've missed episodes. I'm, can't stick around for an hour and a half tonight. Look, it happens.
Hand up.
But I got to give the LVP to STP. But I will say this is a minor setback for a massive comeback for the pod.
Very true. Very true. One last thing I want to bring up, talking about Kenny. I just want to sing one more and just a general overview of the challenge itself. Do you think when they're in these hotel rooms, redemption house, whatever, or maybe even on site, do you think they can watch the eliminations or no? Just something random.
I bet they don't let them watch anything.
Don't? Okay. I was just curious.
My gut tells me no, but honestly, I could see it going either way.
Okay. That was my one last remark of tonight. So again, thank you guys for listening to EP 12 of Stir the Pod. Please, please, please flutter inbox, flutter DM, say prayers up to Alex. He should be going into surgery around, I believe, 10:45 Eastern time tonight. So prayers up to him. Send DM him. We need him back, our challenge historian. I mean, we didn't have this day in challenge history tonight. Andy probably could have left on his date, and me and Alex could have carried the last half of this episode. So there was plenty of opportunities. So again, thank you guys for listening.
One last closing thought from my part, Trev. I just got to say, if you made it here, you're here to play. But can you really play? We will find out as the game begun. But has it really begun? Yes, it has.
I mean, that must be straight out of like a group chat, fantasy football text message or something. I don't know where that can be. But thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram at Stir_the_pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Get well soon, Alex. Love you guys.